December 2003, LAX Airport, 11:47 p.m. Paris Hilton steps out of a black SUV wearing head-to-toe hot pink velour. The tracksuit, cropped jacket, low-rise pants, rhinestone, juicy, bedazzled across her ass, catches every single flash from the 30 paparazzi cameras waiting outside. This is the third time this week she's been photographed wearing Juicy Couture. But here's what makes this moment different. This is the exact moment Paris Hilton became the most effective and most dangerous brand ambassador in fashion history. Because she wasn't being paid. She wasn't under contract. She just genuinely loved these tracksuits so much that she'd end up owning over 100 of them. And for a while, it made Juicy Couture unstoppable. By 2008, the brand was generating $605 million a year. They had stores in every major city in America. Madonna wore them. Jennifer Lopez wore them. 13-year-olds in Iowa were begging their moms for $200 sweatpants. But then something happened that nobody saw coming. By 2015, just 7 years later, every single Juicy Couture store in America had closed. All 120 of them. Gone. The founders had walked away. The brand had been sold off twice. The velour tracksuit had gone from status symbol to thrift store clearance rack. So what the hell happened? How did the most iconic fashion brand of the 2000s go from 600 million in sales to complete collapse in less than a decade? And here's the real question. Was it actually Paris Hilton's fault? Because the answer's way more complicated than you think. The $200 gamble. Let's go back to where this all started. 1997, Los Angeles. Pamela Skeist-Levy and Gela Nash Taylor were two best friends who'd been trying to make it in fashion for almost a decade. They'd already launched one business together, Travis Jeans for the Baby and You. Yeah, maternity jeans. It did fine, paid some bills, but it wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to create something that captured their entire California lifestyle. Comfortable but expensive. Casual but sexy. Clothes you could wear to the grocery store or to a club and feel like the hottest person in the room. So they took $200, that's all they had, and started over. They called it Juicy Couture. The name alone was genius. Couture made it sound like high fashion. Juicy made it sound dirty. It was trashy and luxurious at the exact same time. But here's what nobody tells you about those early days. The t-shirt era. Their first product wasn't a tracksuit. It was a V-neck t-shirt. Sounds boring, right? But they obsessed over it. Got the fabric perfect. Made sure the cut was flattering on every body type. Picked colors that popped. First year, they made $1 million. Not bad for two friends with $200 and a dream, but they still hadn't created the thing that would change everything. The Madonna moment. Everything changes. Pamela and Gela designed their first velour tracksuit. Initially, it was a custom piece for Madonna. And let me tell you exactly why this tracksuit was different from every other tracksuit on the market. The jacket? Cropped. Not too short, not too long. Just enough to show your stomach if you wanted. The zipper? Shaped like a tiny J. A detail so small most people never noticed it, but if you knew, you knew. The pants? Low-rise, like dangerously low-rise, with a boot-cut leg that actually made your ass look incredible. And the price? $155 for the set. Here's the genius of that price point. It was expensive enough that you felt fancy wearing it, but it was cheap enough that a college student could save up for one. Or a suburban mom could justify buying one without telling her husband. It was the ultimate fashion paradox. Sweatpants that cost more than jeans, but felt worth it. Madonna gets photographed in hers walking around London. The tracksuit has Madge bedazzled on the back. The photos go everywhere. Suddenly, every celebrity in Hollywood wants one. Jennifer Lopez wears one in her I'm Real music video. Britney Spears gets papped leaving her apartment in a baby pink set. Lindsay Lohan wears them to award shows. But nobody, and I mean nobody, wore Juicy Couture like Paris Hilton was about to. And then Paris walked into their lives. 2002. Paris Hilton meets Juicy Couture through her friend Laura Schriftman. Laura happened to be Juicy's publicist. She gives Paris one tracksuit to try. Here's what Paris said about that moment years later. As soon as I put on my first Juicy tracksuit, I was obsessed. Obsessed is actually an understatement. Laura starts sending Paris new shipments every single week. New colors, new styles. Paris would get boxes delivered to her house like she was running a damn boutique. She wore them to the airport, to Starbucks, to nightclubs, to lunch with friends, to walk her dog. She later admitted she owned over 100 tracksuits in every color Juicy ever made. She had an entire closet in her mansion dedicated just to Juicy Couture. "It basically became my uniform," she told Vogue. "I wasn't just wearing them to chill at my house. I was going out at night in them. I was rocking them with everything." Paris wasn't getting paid to wear this stuff. She wasn't under contract. She just genuinely loved the brand. But in 2003, something happened that would turn Paris from fan into phenomenon. And it would change Juicy Couture forever. The Simple Life drops. December 2nd, 2003. Fox debuts The Simple Life. If you don't remember this show, let me paint you a picture. Take two of the richest, most privileged girls in America, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, and send them to rural Arkansas to live with a family on a farm. No credit cards, no assistants, no makeup artists, no private jets. The first episode pulls in 13 million viewers, and Paris shows up to milk cows wearing a pink Juicy Couture tracksuit and Dior wedges. The show was supposed to be about rich girls struggling with normal life, but it accidentally became the greatest fashion marketing campaign in history. Because every single episode, Paris wore Juicy. Pink Juicy on the farm, baby blue Juicy at the gas station, white Juicy with rhinestones when they had to work at Sonic Drive-In. She wasn't doing it for a paycheck. She'd literally brought her entire Juicy collection to Arkansas because those were her actual clothes. And America lost its goddamn mind. The cultural explosion. Here's what happened next. Teenage girls across America saw Paris Hilton, this impossibly glamorous, impossibly blonde heiress, wearing sweatpants. And not gross sweatpants. Cute sweatpants. Expensive sweatpants. Sweatpants that made you look like you were somebody. The message was clear. You don't have to be uncomfortable to be fashionable. You could wear what was basically pajamas and still be the hottest girl in the room. Suddenly, Juicy Couture wasn't just for LA socialites anymore. It was for everyone. Moms in Ohio, college students in Texas, high schoolers in Florida. And the numbers started going absolutely insane. The business explosion. 2003. Liz Claiborne buys Juicy Couture for $226 million. Read that again. $226 million. Pamela and Jella had started this company 6 years earlier with $200. Now it's worth more than $200 million. The brand starts expanding. They're not just in boutiques anymore. They're in Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Bergdorf Goodman, Saks Fifth Avenue. If you had a high-end department store in America, you had a Juicy Couture section. And then came the accessories. Handbags, sunglasses, jewelry, dog clothes, yes, dog clothes. And in 2006, they launched their first fragrance, Viva La Juicy. It sold a bottle every single minute, every 60 seconds. Someone somewhere in the world was buying Viva La Juicy perfume. The peak, 2006 to 2007. Sales almost double in 1 year. By 2008, Juicy Couture hits peak velocity, $605 million in annual revenue, 100 company-owned stores across the United States, 5,300 tracksuits being sold per day. And Paris? She's still wearing them, still getting photographed in them, still making them cool. She wasn't on Juicy's payroll. She wasn't obligated to wear anything. She just loved the brand so much that she became their global ambassador for free. Juicy Couture had accidentally discovered the most effective marketing strategy in modern fashion history. Get Paris Hilton to wear your stuff everywhere and never, ever stop. But here's where the story gets dark. Because there's a problem with putting all your eggs in one very famous, very photographed basket. When that basket gets too full, it breaks. 2007, you couldn't escape Juicy Couture. Walk into any mall in America and you'd see it everywhere. Teenage girls wearing matching sets, college students, moms. Even guys were wearing the men's line. Paris wore them so much that people stopped calling them Juicy Couture. They called them Paris Hilton tracksuits. The brand had become completely inseparable from her image, and that's when everything started falling apart. Layer 1. The overexposure problem. Here's what nobody talks about. By 2007, Paris Hilton wasn't just famous anymore. She was overexposed. The tabloids were brutal. Every magazine had a new Paris scandal. The reality show that made her famous was starting to feel tired. The sex tape, the DUI arrest, the jail time, the feuds with other celebrities. And when they got sick of Paris, they got sick of Juicy. The tracksuit that used to feel exclusive and cool started showing up in places it shouldn't. Kohl's started carrying Juicy. TJ Maxx had racks of it. The same tracksuit that used to cost $250 was now on clearance for $40. It didn't feel special anymore. It felt cheap. But that wasn't even the worst part. Layer 2, the recession kills the vibe. September 15th, 2008, Lehman Brothers collapses. The stock market crashes. America enters the worst recession since the Great Depression. And Juicy Couture? They're selling $200 velour tracksuits with rhinestones that say Juicy on the ass. Read the room. Luxury fashion didn't die during the recession. People still bought Chanel, still bought Louis Vuitton, still bought Hermes. But those brands sold sophistication, quiet luxury, timeless pieces you could justify spending money on because they'd last forever. Juicy Couture sold flash. They sold new money. They sold the idea that you could look rich without actually being rich. And when the economy crashed, nobody wanted to look rich. Looking rich felt gross, tacky, tone-deaf. Minimalism came back. Dark colors, clean lines, simple silhouettes. The bright pink velour tracksuit covered in rhinestones felt like something from a different planet. 2009. Sales drop 11% in 1 year, but it gets worse. Layer 3. The founders walk away. Pamela Skaist-Levy and Gela Nash-Taylor, the two best friends who'd started Juicy Couture with $200 13 years earlier, stepped down as co-presidents. They didn't leave because they wanted to retire. They left because Liz Claiborne was destroying everything they'd built. The company was pushing them to make cheaper products, to sell in discount stores, to chase trends instead of setting them. It's been painful to watch the brand fall down after we left, Pamela told the Huffington Post in 2014. We wanted Juicy to be the great American girly brand. Painful. The woman who'd turned $200 into $200 million had to watch strangers kill her baby. And the stores? One by one, they started going dark. Sales kept falling. The brand that used to have lines out the door? Empty racks. Layer 4, the final collapse. Juicy Couture gets sold again, this time to Authentic Brands Group, for $195 million. Wait, let me put that in perspective. They'd been sold 7 years earlier for $226 million. They'd lost value. Despite making $600 million in revenue just 5 years before, the brand had become worthless. But ABG promises to turn things around. They say they'll relaunch the stores, bring back the magic, rebuild the brand. And then, June 2015, Juicy Couture closes all 120 of its US stores. Every single one. The flagship location in New York? Gone. Los Angeles? Gone. The stores in shopping malls across America? Shuttered. The brand still existed online. You could still buy Juicy stuff, but the physical stores, the places where teenage girls used to beg their parents for tracksuits, completely gone. So what about Paris? Here's the twist. Paris moved on. She launched a perfume empire, became a DJ, built a business worth $300 million, but she never stopped wearing the tracksuits. I have an entire closet of Juicy, she told Elle in 2018. That was my uniform back in the day. I'm so happy I kept them all. In February 2025, she auctioned off nearly 100 pieces from her personal Juicy collection for charity. Black lounge pants with rhinestones, purple velour sets, the exact ones she wore on The Simple Life. The tracksuits that used to cost $200, they sold for $300, $400. Some went for over $1,000. Because here's what happened next that nobody expected. Gen Z discovers a dead brand. TikTok explodes with Y2K nostalgia. And Gen Z, kids who weren't even born when Paris wore these, discovers Juicy Couture. But they're not discovering it as this embarrassing relic from their childhood. To them, it's vintage, it's retro, it's cool in a way it never was before. Hashtags like Juicy Back and Juicy Forever start trending. Bella Hadid gets photographed in a Juicy tracksuit. Kylie Jenner wears them. Suddenly, the brand that died is relevant again. And Authentic Brands Group sees an opportunity. They rebuild the whole thing. But they do it smart this time. No more stores, no more overhead, just licensing deals. They partner with Elizabeth Arden for fragrances, Steve Madden for shoes. They do collaborations with Ganni, with Crocs. They even made Juicy Couture branded mayonnaise with Kraft. I'm not kidding. Juicy Couture mayo is a real thing that exists. The numbers today, 2024. Juicy Couture makes $324 million in revenue. No stores, no manufacturing, just brand licensing. They're making over half of what they made at their peak in 2008. Except now they don't have to pay rent on 100 stores, or deal with inventory, or worry about any of that. 70% of their customers are between 14 and 28 years old. Most of them weren't even born when Paris made Juicy famous. They're buying these tracksuits because they saw them on TikTok, because their moms had them, because Bella Hadid made them cool again. The brand that Paris helped build, and then accidentally helped destroy, is back. The real question. So here's what I want to know. Did Paris Hilton actually destroy Juicy Couture? Or did she just love it too much? Because look at the facts. Paris didn't kill Juicy Couture. The recession killed it. The founders leaving killed it. Oversaturation killed it. Discount retailers killed it. Bad management killed it. Bad timing killed it. But Paris was the face of all of it. She wore Juicy so much that the brand became inseparable from her image. And when her image started getting stale, the brand went down with her. That's the double-edged sword of influencer marketing. When one person becomes your brand, you live and die by their relevance. Juicy Couture made the same mistake 1,000 brands have made since. They put all their eggs in one very famous, very photographed, very Paris Hilton basket. And when that basket got dropped, so did they. But maybe that's not the end of the story, because Paris still wears them. She still has that closet full of tracksuits. She still calls herself a juicy girl for life. And the brand she helped make famous? It's alive again. Different, sure, but alive. So maybe Paris didn't destroy the $600 million Juicy Couture empire. Maybe she just loved it to death.